Welcome to this tutorial series on running JavaScript on Cloudflare Workers. This series is going to focus on a bunch of different topics. This single video today is going to focus on what Cloudflare Workers are. We're going to talk about the workers themselves, the capabilities, what you can build with them, and we're going to look at some examples. In the next set of videos, we're going to show you very practically how you would do a deployment of some JavaScript code within the workers. We're going to do that by creating a simple API from a GitHub repository and to build and deploy it directly. And then there's many additional topics related to Cloudflare Workers that we can add once we have deployed. And we're going to be covering those advanced topics as well later on. That includes custom domain setup, authentication, authorization, environment variables, secrets, multiple environments, rate limiting, logging, and so on. So what are Cloudflare Workers? The simplest way to describe it is that they're just a Cloudflare product. It is the serverless platform that they have for building, deploying, and scaling apps. And it's super simple. Just imagine you have a bit of code, whether that's in Python or JavaScript or some language. All it does is provide a small little wrapper around your source code, and Cloudflare will be able to deploy and execute it throughout their global network. The amazing benefit that you have is that you don't have to think about where it deploys. You just set up the configuration once and it will deploy it across the entire global network. You never have to set up or manage any servers or infrastructure. And it's a very common and useful pattern used for front-end apps, APIs, edge logic, automation, and AI stuff as well. So this is a map of the Cloudflare global network. So each of the orange points that you see is a Cloudflare server. It could be a small one or it could be a large one, but the way that you want to think about it is that they have at least one computer there where you can run some of your code. So if you happen to be in a specific location like I am, where that is Canada, I have the ability to have my code live in places all across Canada. And then when the user happens to access the website or piece of code that is relating to my application, Cloudflare would always serve them the nearest location. Cloudflare also has the same set of servers worldwide, so they will basically automatically manage the copying or duplication of your code so that it's always right next to your customer. And that can be a huge benefit if you happen to have worldwide customers. So if I only had my code, for example, in Vancouver, like in the AWS Oregon location, for example, and someone in Africa or Australia tried to access it, at the point of access, the internet cables would actually have to go all the way there and come back to be able to serve that web page. But with something like Cloudflare's global network, your code can basically live in the closest place that is to them. So what are some of the capabilities? What does it bring if you were to use Cloudflare Workers? Well, it's very fast. The performance is achieved again through the global network. It's very high reliability, so they do a lot of duplication and a lot of extra things to make sure that whatever your app is, it's always accessible in the closest node. One of the greatest benefits is that they support full stack applications in React, Vue.js, Svelte, Next, Astro, and a couple of other frameworks and libraries. The benefit there is that if you build your application ahead of time and serve it as static files, whether that's a client-side application or it's a pre-rendered application, then you don't really have to manage a server or anything like that. Alternatively, if you're just running some code like JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, Rust, or some other languages as well, you can just run that little bit of code again in a typical source code setup. And again, all you have to do is provide a configuration file that creates a mini artificial wrapper around that code, and then Cloudflare will basically distribute it worldwide. It also has a bunch of other built-in add-ons that are very useful and give you like the whole platform experience, hence why it is a platform and not just a single product. It has observability. That means it has logging, it has alerts, it has metrics. It has analytics for where and when it's being used. And there's quite a bit of configuration, like we talked at the beginning, with custom domains, authentication, secrets, and so on. Probably the biggest selling point, though, is that it's absolutely free to start, and you only get charged once you reach like the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of invocations. So a lot of what you'll be doing at the beginning, in the setup, in the testing and development and that kind of stuff, all that can be done completely free. So again, you can build full front-end applications, as we talked about. They can be static assets, or they can be like pre-rendered. In terms of like backend stuff, you can actually build these small little APIs, although it's not recommended that you use it for like a full API that you have, especially if it has all the layers of database, caching, security, authentication, and so on. But for small bits of code, it can be very useful. Some of the newer stuff that it's been doing as well is that it's very good for doing serverless AI. So if you want to run LLMs and you don't want to manage the servers yourself, it's getting up and running with that. It can also do background jobs, so you can set up cron jobs, queues, workflows, all that kind of stuff. And again, the observability and monitoring is a huge sell of the solution as well. As you may know, Cloudflare has quite a bit of other products as well. Some of the most popular ones are D1 for databases that are serverless. R2 is their S3 equivalent. Durable objects, queues for background processing, quite a bit of automations and workflows. And then they have Cloudflare images and cache and their CDN network. And all of this can be integrated super quickly and super easily to your workers. So it can kind of be like a middleware piece that is before, after, or in between some of your other Cloudflare products. But in case you're new to Cloudflare, this is a little bit about what their product stack looks like. It's also a good idea to explore this yourself a little bit, get to know all the different pieces of Cloudflare to make sure that you can find the right products for what you're looking to do. And again, some of the top integrations are the Cloudflare Workers key value store that they provide, which is very useful for these like mini stores that work with workers. That allows you to build something like a rate limiter, for example, or a session management mini API, you could say. Cloudflare R2, which is their S3 equivalent for their object store, is huge. It is my go-to S3 solution, to be honest, over AWS S3. I would strongly recommend it if you've never used it. And then again, Cloudflare D1, queues, their CDN, and images products are great choices if you're going to be working with Cloudflare. Let's now talk about some practical examples about how JavaScript and Cloudflare Workers fits together. The first common use case is what is called an API proxy or API gateway. So as you can see from the diagram on the right-hand side, imagine you have a React or a client-side web app, and you have a Node API on the other side. So in some cases, your React app is going to have to hit your Node API. But that means that sometimes you'll have to have some secrets on the client side to be able to access this API. Now, this can be a bit of a security risk based on how you set it up, because your secrets actually live on the browser of the user. So alternatively, what you could do there is if you set up a Cloudflare worker and all this Cloudflare worker did was hold the secret for the API, and that itself hit the Node API, then your React app would just have to hit the worker. And as long as the authentication happens over here, the secret is never exposed. So this is a common pattern for whenever you have to use third-party APIs, such as, for example, OpenAI, one of the AI APIs and that kind of stuff, because that way you never have to show the secret on the client side and it can't get stolen. A second very common use case is what's called geolocation redirecting, or when you change the path name or the URL path when you're accessing a website. So imagine we have a website here called Muffin Factory that the user is trying to access. In the normal case, the user would type in muffinfactory.com and then they would get served a single web page. But what if your website had different languages? What if it had Canadian English, Canadian French, US French, and other languages and so on? Then our site itself would have to have some logic that would look at the request object. It would have to do an IP address to geolocation transformation. And then once you had the location, you would be able to serve the different websites and all that kind of stuff. So we can avoid writing that logic in the second scenario with a Cloudflare worker. So one of the huge benefits that the workers provide is that they already know where the request came from. They have very good approximate geolocation built in with the workers. So through the object that you get from the worker, it can actually tell you what city, what country, what location, and what approximate latitude and longitude that the user is in. So if the user were to hit your same website over here, the only thing that you would have to do within this worker is based on the different location and maybe a kind of mapping. You would say, okay, if this person is in Canada, we're going to just append /ca to the website. If it's .com, we would append /US/French and so on. And then it would still ultimately get to the website, but the URL would be rewritten in this way. That way, when the website is ultimately served back to the user, it already has the specific language for how they're going to be accessing it. If your website itself is also hosted already within Cloudflare Workers or Cloudflare Pages, then this pathway is already on the pathway to the destination. So it actually doesn't even make it slower. It doesn't increase the time that it takes to arrive at the destination because of the global network for Cloudflare. And you would basically have this built-in logic that you wouldn't have to write yourself within your app code. There's many other use cases for what Cloudflare Workers can be used for. It can serve as a lightweight backend for a static website, so it can be like a mini API if you have to handle forms, newsletter signups, waitlist forms, and that kind of stuff. It can also serve as auth middleware. So if you partner it up with Cloudflare Key Value Store and have a mini storage solution, it could actually serve as the authentication middleware and handle cookies and web access tokens or rate limiting as well. It can also do image uploading and signing, especially if you use something with R2. It can work with webhooks. It can serve as a cache layer, again, if you use a mini database or a mini cache with it. You can transform URLs as we saw, so it can do URL shortening. It can do A/B testing or feature flags. We can do edge rendering of small APIs. It can host entire frameworks as we saw before, so we could do a static app backend. We could also do real-time room coordination, background task triggering, and AI wrappers for some of the endpoints that we have. So that's it. That covers what we wanted to cover with the Cloudflare Workers itself. What's coming up in the next video, here's an overview of it. We're actually going to be doing an actual practical example where we go into the Cloudflare Workers dashboard and we actually do a deployment. So these are the steps that we're going to be doing just so you get an idea of what's coming up. We're going to be creating a GitHub repository and cloning it on our computer. Then we're going to initialize NPM. We're going to initialize Wrangler, which is the Cloudflare configuration. And we're going to create a very simple Hello World API in JavaScript. We're going to run this API locally with Wrangler to simulate what it would be like remotely before we push the changes. And then once we push the changes to GitHub, then we're going to set up the Cloudflare Worker project. In this case, we're going to be doing it from the dashboard, although you can also do it from the CLI. And then we're going to watch it auto build and deploy as soon as we create the project. We're going to test the remote instance, and then we're going to make additional local changes and push again. Once we've tested the remote instance, we're going to show that we can make additional changes locally by writing a little bit more code. And just a simple push to GitHub again is going to trigger an auto redeploy. It's going to build it again, and the remote instance will always have the latest instance. Then we're going to do the test remotely again, just so that we can verify the updated changes are there. So thanks for watching, and please watch the next video if you're interested in looking at the practical example.